Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our third participant, Pakistan Islamia Higher Secondary School, Ras Al Khaimah.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zainul Abidin. I'm here along with my teammates, Ahmad Asif, Hadi Usmani, and Adnan Iftikhar. We are the students of Pakistan Higher Secondary School, Ras Al Khaimah. Today, we were given the opportunity to present a presentation on the topic that is climate change affecting the environment. Let's begin with the introduction. My home, your home, our home. Planet Earth, third planet from the sun and home to several thousand species of living organisms, including humans. Climate. Average weather of a place is known as climate. It includes wind, season, air, humidity, and other factors. For example, the climate of United Arab Emirates is hot and humid. Climate of a place takes several years or million years to change. Environment. Everything in our surrounding is our environment. It includes mountain, rivers, snows, etc. Now there are some basic things that our environment provides us to spend life on this planet. Those are food, water, and shelter. Human and the environment. In return of all these basic things, what do we humans give our environment? We give the gift of pollution, greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect, global warming, and deforestation. This is what we give our environment. Now, what are the causes of climate change? Let's discuss them. Human activities. Humans are mainly responsible for the destruction of the planet Earth and the environment. We cause pollution, global warming, deforestation. Pollution. There are three types of main pollution: air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. Air pollution is responsible for ozone depletion. Water pollution is responsible for affecting marine life and coral reefs. Land pollution is responsible for contaminating the soil, which affects the production of food. Greenhouse gases. Greenhouse is a structure of glass or polythene sheets that is used to provide a suitable environment for the plants to grow. There are certain gases that are released by greenhouse known as greenhouse gases. There's a pie chart that shows the percentage of greenhouse gases in the environment. Carbon dioxide goes with 65%, methane 17%, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide 6%, and other gases 12%. Now, what is the role of greenhouse gases in the environment? Greenhouse gases absorb the radiation and the heat coming from the sun and re-emit it in the all directions, which increases the temperature of the world. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is mainly responsible for increasing the temperature of the world. Why? Because carbon dioxide forms a black blanket around the atmosphere and traps the heat inside the earth and does not allow that heat to escape into space. Here's a percentage that shows carbon dioxide emissions by country. China, it goes with 23%, United States 18%, European Union 14%, India and Russia 6%, Japan 4%, Germany 3%, and other countries 26%. Now, why China contributes the most? Because 72% of China is industries. China is the leading manufacturer of chemical fertilizers, cement, and steel. Do you know that 2.4 million pounds of carbon dioxide is released every second? In the year 2013, 38.2 billion tons of carbon dioxide was released by all the nations combined. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we are affecting our environment. Deforestation. Deforestation is the cutting down of trees and clearing forests for the construction of human homes or habitats for humans and buildings. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, every year 7.3 million hectares of forests are lost. Deforestation leads to soil erosion, unavailability of food and water, flooding. It affects the habitats of the animals. Now, what are the impacts of climate change on our environment? Global warming, the biggest challenge that humans face today. Increase in the temperature of the world due to human influence is known as global warming. Global warming leads to rise in the temperature of the world, melting of the Arctic ice. It affects the habitats of the animals, unavailability of food and fresh water. Rising sea level. Rising sea level is the product of global warming. The Arctic ice have been melting about 134 billion metric tons since the year 2000. There is a land loss in the Arctic region. So the polar bears migrate to other parts of the world, which takes the species of the polar bear towards extinction. Now, rising sea level affects places like Maldives and Venice. These places will soon become our history and they will disappear from the world map. Due to the rising sea level, the buildings in Venice are being eroded and the life of the people is greatly affected. Severe storms and rainfalls. Due to global warming, humans will face more severe storms and rainfall. According to United Nations Environmental Program, every year humans face 1.2 trillion loss because of severe storms and rainfall caused by global warming. Now, food and water shortage. Due to rising sea level and global warming, humans will face more food and water shortage. Today, 1.6 billion people are living in water-scarce areas. If we continue these activities, the percentage will increase by 175%. That will take the numbers to 2.8 billion people living in the water-scarce areas. The places which will be mostly affected by food and water shortage will be Africa, Middle East, Asia, and some parts of Australia. Now, how can we overcome all these environmental deficiencies? That is the point we have to focus the most. Forego fossil fuels. Everything we eat, we wear, or we use to travel operates on fossil fuel. For example, food industry use fossil fuels and prepare food for us. Textile industry prepare clothes, they use fossil fuels. We use buses and cars for traveling, we burn fossil fuels. Now, how can we overcome all these consumptions of the fossil fuels? It's very simple. Use bicycles instead of using cars and buses for short distance traveling. Park your car under the shades, not in the sun. Because when you park your car in the sun, it rises the temperature of the fuel tank, which evaporates the fuel. But when you park them under the shade, it reduces the temperature up to 7 degrees and prevent the fuel from evaporating. Use public transport instead of using personal transport. Because the more you use personal transport, the vehicles will increase and the pollution will ultimately increase. Prefer walking instead of using taxis. Because walking will not only make you healthy and fit, but also helps you save the environment. 3 R's. Recycle, reuse, and reduce. Recycling is a process in which waste material is converted into a useful product. For example, paper prepared from recycled material saves 50% of water and 75% of energy as compared to the paper generated from raw materials. Cans produced from recycled materials reduces the energy and pollution by 95%. Reuse. Reuse means using a thing over again and again. The best example of reuse is donating. Donate your clothes to the people, because when people will use your donated clothes, they will not buy new ones. Textile industry will not produce more clothes, they will not use more fossil fuels, so less will be the pollution. Reduce. Minimize the consumption of consumer goods in your life. I've observed one thing everywhere. People use only one side of the printing paper and they leave the other side useless. Ladies and gentlemen, use both sides of the paper, because one tree dies to give 6,000 sheets of printing paper. Eat smart, go vegetarian. Do you know that eating meat leads to more environmental problems? Why? Because the cattle like cows, buffaloes, bullocks, sheep, they use more water and more food as compared to humans. For example, a cow takes in 1000 liter of water and give out 1 liter of milk. Can you imagine that 1000 liter of water and 1 liter of milk? Seriously? Cows take 90 to 95% more food than a human, and they also give more waste than a human. The waste material of these cattle include a gas known as methane. Methane is mainly responsible for the destruction of the environment. So ladies and gentlemen, say no to meat, yes to veggies, because the more meat you eat, the more will be the production of the cattle, the more will be the emission of methane, and more will be the consumption of food and fresh water. Eating vegetables will not only make you good, look and smart, but it will also help us save the environment. Afforestation. Trees are the lungs of the earth. Earth breathes with the help of the trees. Trees maintain the temperature of the world. It absorbs carbon dioxide from the earth. Planting trees and forests is called afforestation. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that planting 1 acre of forest absorbs 6 tons of carbon dioxide from the earth? And 1 acre of forest provides oxygen to 18 people for a year. These are the benefits of afforestation. Growing more trees will provide more habitats to the animals, and it will preserve their species. It will provide more food and prevent soil erosion and prevent flooding. Change your habits. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how much scientific methods we apply, no matter how much hacks we use in our life to save our environment, we cannot save it until we change ourselves. We have to change the way we think. Here are some habits that are common in all of us. Eat less. The more you eat, the more will be environmental problems. Why? The more you eat, the more will be the production of food and the food industries, and the industrialist, for his business, he will use more fuel, more raw material, and he will pollute our environment. Be careful. Every one of us is careless. Turn off all the lights, unwanted lights in your home, because the countries like UAE, Saudi and Oman, they generate their electricity burning fossil fuels. So you save this energy, you save fossil fuels, because the electricity here, you can call it fossil electricity. The electricity obtained from fossil fuels. So if you save this energy, you save the burning of fossil fuels, and I can see these lights over here. They should have turned it off while presenting to save the environment. Buy less. The more you buy, the more the production will be in the industries, and the more will be the pollution. Now, turn off your car engines. Nowadays, cars are equipped with stop and start technology that allows you to turn off and start the engine instantly. That not only helps to save the environment, but also save fuel. Ladies and gentlemen, Earth does not belong to us. We belong to this Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't do anything today, we will have much darker future tomorrow. Our future generations will suffer, and they will have to pay a huge price for our mistakes, for our doings. If not for yourself, think about your future generations. This is the only planet in our solar system where we can survive. On behalf of the planet Earth, I ask you a question. I leave you a question. Can you save the planet Earth? Yes or no, it's up to you to decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, please join us on the stage. Judges, I would request you to please keep the questions short and concise for them to understand. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much again. Mentioned about the global warming. And you also mentioned about some of the elements or some of the things that we do that contributes to global warming. I also noticed that you mentioned something about the fact that park your car in a shade, that will have an impact. Don't turn on the car for too long, that will have an impact. You also mentioned about the fact that instead of taking a car, ride a bike, if possible, which is good. And also from the food side of it, you mentioned about 1,000 liters that you take in order to make 1 liter of milk. Well, milk is also important for us too, so we have to have milk too. So what I'm trying to say to you is what I want to ask you, and it was a very nice presentation. I was hoping that if you could have given us a little bit more information in terms of having an impact, major impact. One of the reasons why we're having global warming is also because of some of the things that we use. We mentioned about CO2, which is good.
Yeah,
But one of the major contributors to CO2 is diesel generators and diesel trucks. Do you know that 1 liter of petroleum diesel emits 2.6 kilograms of greenhouse gases? That's a big number.
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
My suggestion would be, and I would rather, I'm taking the opportunity of highlighting this so that we can understand, it's not the car that has more impact, it's more of the diesel trucks and diesel generators that has a major impact. And if we can, in any shape or form, can reduce using some of those bigger polluters, don't get me wrong, cars also pollute.
Yeah, yes.
But if you can take care of that, that could have a better impact as well. But I still want to know from your side, from the presentation that you made, what do you think could be one major contribution, if you may, or suggestion that you may make that will help us to understand about the green, what do you call, the global warming? Please.
Okay. Sir, these gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, they increase global warming. But they are also important for us because if we completely disappear them from the planet, our temperature of the world will fall to 0 degree Fahrenheit, and that's dangerous for us. We have to change ourselves, as I told you. We have to minimize the consumption of consumer products. Means like we buy heavy cars. Why don't we buy light cars? Less will be the weight, less will be the emission of gases. Can't we use hybrid cars? Let's wear light dresses. Light dresses reduces the production, reduces the amount of raw material. So ultimately it will reduce pollution. So we have to change ourselves. This is the only way we got. Because reducing the cars, it will not affect much. But if we change the way we think, we spend life, we can change anything. Humans have affected the environment, they can also bring it back. Humans have the capability. But if we don't bring it back, nature has the power to restore power. Today, if we don't do anything, tomorrow nature will stand against us. And if it had to destroy all the living organisms on the planet, it will do it. So we have to change ourselves. This is the main reason.
Can I make one suggestion, if
Yes,
I may?
sir. Yes, sir.
I was just having a discussion with my young man here on my left-hand side about the Montreal Protocol, that Dubai been very visionary in accepting and leading the Dubai pathway regarding the global warming. And one of the culprit, if I could use the word from the schoolboys terminology, one of the culprit was recognized as aerosol cans.
Aerosol cans. Cans that can be recycled.
Aerosol cans, which before we used to have CFC gas.
Yeah.
So we came to the point where we realized, the world realized, not me, the world realized, the CFC has a bad impact on our ozone layer.
Yes, depletion.
So we converted from CFC to HFC. Now all the cans that you may see contains HFC.
Yes, sir.
And they need it in order to put the pressure on, to get the things out from what is required. Correct me if I'm wrong, doctor. So what I was suggesting that if it's possible that you could come up with some kind of drive domestically within the school where you can collect aerosol cans and maybe bring out more awareness to the people to say the aerosol cans, we will never stop using it, but if we can recycle it, I was reading your RRR, 3 Rs, if we can recycle those cans, then the possibility of those cans going to the landfill, which causes methane gas, which I noticed that you mentioned a lot, and it also created all kinds of greenhouse gases, that can play an important role. So perhaps from your side of it, you can even think about finding a solution, so starting with a solution. And that will be something that you can achieve it, you can do it without having to make anyone else trying to do anything else. Do you think that could be possible?
Maybe if we think harder, it is possible. So, sir, like recycling is a solution that minimizes the consumption of raw materials, and it minimizes the burning of fossil fuel.
Your time's up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How is the school?